Hello, everybody. I've just put together an 11-point list here in response to Julie's question on the ENFJ forum to do with extroverted feeling, and it really got me thinking about what makes ENFJs tick and what makes their extroverted first function actually quite difficult to live with in a lot of ways. And this list is 11 different things that mean that FE is actually quite a hard function to have to live with. So I'm just going to leap straight in with, and I'm going to explain hopefully why Julie felt the need to withdraw and not upset other people. And that's basically because she's an FE Dom. And what I mean by that is that number one on the list is that all ENFJs tend to put the other person as their first focus. So when Julie felt the need to withdraw, it was because she didn't want to upset anyone. And that's exactly what it's like when, if as an ENFJ you meet a group, or you might meet a potential love interest or something like that, you don't want the other person to withdraw. So the first thing you do is that you try to make them comfortable. And the way that you make them feel comfortable is by, obviously using your intuition. You know how they feel, and you want to focus on them. So you're saying, tell me all about you. I want to know all about you. I like you. I want you to tell me about you, and I want to listen. I don't really want to assert anything. And this is the second thing on the list, is that we're quite protective of our own thoughts and feelings, and that's because if we start to try to assert ourselves as people onto other people that we've just met or that we're interested in, if we start to assert all that stuff on other people, sometimes we can get rejected for it. So we don't want to kind of start off by being difficult with people and then them saying, well, I'm not interested, I don't care about you because you don't care about me, you're not listening to me, you're only talking about yourself. We don't want to talk about ourselves. We want to hear what other people think. It's ironic, I'm doing a video all about ENFJs and about themselves, but I guess someone has to do it. And then number 3 on the list is that we only really share once we start to trust people. And what I mean by that is that when we first meet people, particularly if we meet people that we're interested in a sort of romantic way, sometimes we're quite nervous. So we start off by treading on eggshells, using our FE and NI to figure out what we can and can't express. And we figure out what they think by asking them about themselves. And we start to trust them when we feel that their responses that they've given to our questions are kind of like in line with our ideals and how we feel. And though ENFJs are really non-judgmental people, we don't really mind if you've got we don't really care if there's a weird past or stuff that we wouldn't do ourselves. It doesn't really matter to us whether or not we wouldn't do it ourselves. It just, because we don't care if other people do it, we just want other people to be happy. So we can only start to share once we trust, which is number 3 on the list, and that takes a long time, which is number 4 on the list. It takes a long time to actually open up to other people, and that's because of the fact that it takes so long to figure out whether or not we can trust the other person using our introverted functions. We sort of sit there with our introverted intuition, our introverted thinking, comparing it with how we feel based on this person's responses. And so we don't really trust people necessarily, and it takes a long time therefore to open up our own feelings for fear that we will be rejected, which is number 5 on the list. Because once we do open up, finally, if we don't get validated for what we feel and what we think, which is often taken quite a long time to figure out using NI and TI and then going back to how we feel about it. If we're if we're rejected for what we think or feel, quite often we just move straight back to our first function. So say if someone disagrees with an ENFJ, once they've finally opened up what they really feel about something, if someone disagrees with them, they tend to just go straight back to extroverted feeling. At least that's how I feel. And I feel that's because I tend to be a bit like, well, if I'm starting to piss anybody off, I'm going to try to go back to the point where I'm just making people feel happy again. So I just don't want to have the hassle of having an argument. I just want people to feel happy. And it's really hard because I want to be understood as well, but I want people to feel happy. And it gets hard to express what I feel because I don't want to make anyone feel sad. So I can't really just say I feel bad for X because X. You know, if I do that, I feel like I'm being too forceful and making that person feel bad, and I don't want them to. So, now number 6 on this is that we only tend to be ourselves when we're alone, because extroverted feeling concentrates on other people. So we're ourselves when we're on our own because we use our introverted intuition and our introverted thinking to figure out what we think about things and compare it with how we feel. But, and this links with number 8, the ironic thing is that we want to be ourselves, and yet number 8 is that we have a craving to be in a group. We have a craving to be with other people, so because we're extroverts. So it really hurts because we're extroverting, and number 7 is we feel lonely in a group because we're not always fully present as ourselves in a group because we're trying to facilitate everybody else's happiness. You know, we don't really care about our own happiness, not so much anyway, and we don't really want to assert ourselves on the group because, or even on one other person, because we're scared that we're going to upset people, and we don't want other people to be upset. So we're only really ourselves when we're on our own, and when we're on our own we feel crap because we want to be with other people, which is very difficult to do. And then number 9 on the list is that in relationships we're sometimes seen as fake because we don't immediately express how we feel about everything. We tend to hear what other people have got to say, and we want to know what they feel. So we are just trying to make them feel happy. You know, so we do everything for them. You know, we cook, we clean, we wash, we do all the stuff to make this person feel comfortable, and we want everybody else to feel comfortable, and that's sort of seen as fake. It's like, oh, how can you be so nice? Stop being so nice. You can't be that nice. And it's like, yeah, I really am that nice because I just want you to be happy. I don't want anyone to feel bad. But the other problem is that number 10 is that even if you trust someone and you get to that point where you feel relaxed enough to express your opinions, sometimes you can't be honest. And you can't even be fake, because say if I tell someone how I feel, if I tell someone what I really think about something, then they may feel offended by it, and then I feel like I shouldn't have said it. But the problem is that say if you come across another intuitive type, they know you're being false. So say if they say, what do you think about so and so, and you go, yeah, it's great, they know that what you really mean is I don't agree with it and I think it's not true. And depending on the sensitivity of the other person, of course, they may get upset about you saying that you don't agree, but they'll also get upset about you being fake. So it's like, so what do? Do I be fake and kind of go, yes, it's great, when I don't actually agree, or do I tell you the truth and risk you being upset with me for being truthful? And all of this can end up meaning that when you have these feelings and when you just want to make everybody else happy, you end up hiding. You end up thinking, well, no one's going to be happy. You know, it's no good. I can't make anyone else happy. You know, everybody's got to be their own facilitator for being happy. And you end up hiding. You end up thinking, well, I don't want to force myself on anyone. I don't want to force my presence on anyone. I don't want I want to be there because people want me there. I don't want to be there because I've gone there and made them be, with me. So you kind of, or you don't want to do that. So you end up hiding, and you don't want to hurt. You don't want anyone to hurt. So you hide and you pretend that everything's fine. You don't ever say that you don't feel great. And that's my 11-point list that I've finally managed to get through. And I hope that makes sense to other ENFJs, and I hope it makes sense to other NFs who can kind of probably relate to that quite well in some ways. And I hope that's good. I hope that makes sense to everybody. Let me know what you think. Cheers. Bye.